Do the WWE's new TV deals validate Vince's vision for wrestling? I've heard multiple legends from Brett to Briscoe to Bockwinkel claim that the sport's expansion and reformation were unavoidable, regardless of McMahon, due simply to the encroach of technology. Fault is shared by video games, internet, the globalization of media, but chiefly cable television and the birth of the superstation. In short, glitzy, cartoony sports entertainment was the only way wrestling could survive an increasingly corporate marketplace and an increasingly ADHD society. I would sincerely like to believe that this isn't true, and that there was in fact another way. You've implied as such in the past, but as far as I know, haven't elaborated in depth. So please, with the added benefit of hindsight, how could promoters have kept the golden days of the territories and kayfabe alive into the modern day?
I don't know that we could have kept the territories, obviously, per se, and national TV, whether it was cable or whatever, was going to mean that the big companies would be the most visible, pay the most for talent, and draw the biggest houses, and etc. Vince didn't have to try to take over the whole goddamn world. There could have been a couple of different programs, such as there's more than one NBA team or baseball team or football team or whatever. There didn't have to be just one a wrestling company. But more importantly, just because of all that, wrestling was always something that appealed to a large amount of people when we didn't just basically shit on it in front of them. And once again, there's somebody said because that fucking goof Omega and his goof goddamn friend fucking Ibushi that wrestled the blow up dolls. Somebody reported I was calling them, names on the internet. And they said because Cornette's against the high spot centric style. No, I don't care. If you want to paralyze yourself, I don't necessarily even care how many high spots you do. It's stupid. And I'll say it's stupid to do fucking multiple death-defying things and get up from them because you just make everybody else's job harder. But it's not unforgivable. The unforgivable part is that we have made it completely fucking silly and foolish, whether guys are wrestling dolls or the fucking invisible hand grenades or the dance routines or the slow motion fucking route where they break into slow-mo or all this other fucking horse shit. And it just does not make sense that you would do something like that to a business that you're trying to get people interested and involved in, and that your livelihood depends on the bigger number of people watching it. It's not about whether they know wrestling is a work or not. As we've said a million times, we know magic's a work too. But the big magicians have residencies in Las Vegas and make and do TV specials and make tons of money because they're the most talented at it. They don't have to do fucking bad tricks that flummox up on purpose to wink at the audience and show them it's magic. And for the people who can't understand the difference in respecting the business enough to not slap the back of the fucking stunt man that just took the bump for you in the movie and thank him for it on screen, or in the middle of a goddamn horror movie, the Frankenstein monster suddenly breaks out into fucking song. Oh, wait, that's a parody. And people say, well, parodies of Westerns and horror movies didn't kill the movies. No, because we know they're all fucking phony to begin with, and they're supposed to be. But this is not what wrestling is. It's not what it was invented to be, not what it's supposed to be, and actually not what gets the most people involved. It's just that now all the boys have shit on it to the point where a lot of people ain't never going to take it seriously enough to watch it again. I don't know how else to fucking say. It's like talking to Republicans. You can't make them understand this. It's blatant disrespect. It's fucking shitting all over the business. The magicians don't do that. They don't reveal all their illusions and they expect people to still keep paying. And now it's just a clusterfuck for people who like the videos on the internet of people doing stupid shit and falling off things. And it used to be a lot more than that. And it was exciting because people cared. Somehow the young folks have got the idea that, oh, well, you like those 15-minute long headlocks. Because somebody somewhere that they think knows what they're talking about has on the internet has said, well, wrestling used to be 15-minute long headlocks. The goddamn matches that I watch now are boring because it's a bunch of guys going through routines instead of trying to rip each other's throats out with blood flying everywhere. That was excitement. This is goddamn choreography. And it may very well have happened that the territories went out of way and the social media, etc. But I don't see any of the guys that I shared the locker rooms with in the 70s and 80s, if they had a phone and could tweet, or they had a computer and could fucking blog or whatever the fuck, spilling all their guts when they weren't doing it otherwise. They weren't telling the fans that they weren't telling the girls they were fucking, and a lot of some were, but many didn't. They didn't fucking tell the fans. Some of them didn't tell their fucking families. They certainly didn't blurt out every goddamn detail about everything. Why? Just because they have a phone in their hand where they can do that, would they have suddenly started doing it? They wouldn't have. It was only when we reached a generation where they stopped teaching the guys how important it was to keep up the integrity of the fucking business. And it's only the fans who have never actually seen the shit done properly that have seen something that they got a tickle of on the internet and think that's what wrestling is now. It's something to tickle you on the internet. Otherwise, I don't know what to say.
To his original question, and there were a couple in there, but his original question was if the WWE's TV deal, specifically, I guess, Fox, validates Vince's vision for wrestling.
Well, it validates Vince's vision that sooner or later, and everybody else fucked up, and he's going to make $1 million off of there, $1 billion off this. But it didn't have to be silly. People would have liked it if it was the exciting pro wrestling product that they watched on their local TV station all those years in all those different places. If that same program that they were seeing, instead of there being 25 of them, if there was one, but it was that fucking good, then they would still watch that. We didn't have to just make it goddamn hokey and stupid, because more people watched wrestling on TV when it wasn't hokey and stupid 30, 40 years ago than they do now. It was just Vince's vision that, that led down the hokey, stupid path, and then people took it and ran with it until these jackoffs now, they think that video games are the important thing and wrestling is to be silly. Video games are life and death, but wrestling's silly and fun. It's fucking insane.